Hello there, Cindy Saltman here with another exciting edition. And I mean really exciting edition. It's time for another best, worst, and blandest video, and this one's really special. I started Game Show Garbage back in 2009, and the original idea of the Wanies was to be end of year. So everything that happened in the year 2009 would have qualified. That later got changed to where it was TV season. So it's usually September 2009 to August 2010. And it later got changed to what it would become, which is July 2009 to June 2010. Because July is when I would pare down the nominees and have people suggest stuff. August would be the voting. And September would have been the actual release of the award winner. But for best, worst, and blandest, we take it back old school. It's what was the best show of the year, what was the worst show of the year, what was the blandest show of the year. And the rule is this: has to have a brand new episode in 2009. That is how you get on the list. And for 2009, there really wasn't much new in the way of game shows, unless you were the typical stalwarts at the time, which was Wheel, Jeopardy, Feud, Millionaire, and there was a couple others that we might get to on the list. Everything else that was going on at that time was reality show competitions, and those do fit on this show. And so we're going to talk about them right here. The best, worst, and blandest of 2009. When it comes to reality shows, you have to ask yourself, what is the best ever season of a show? A lot of people, when they talk about Survivor, I get a couple of great answers. I usually get season 20 Heroes versus Villains. I usually get Plow with Tom, where Tom won. When it comes to Big Brother, I don't hear anything about Big Brother because that show is mediocre at best. But when it comes down to Hell's Kitchen, it happened in 2009, and Hell's Kitchen season 6 happened. The best season ever for the show. That season had probably one of the best winners in Dave Levy, and he rocked it. The one-armed bandit himself. He would still hold the title for best winner if not Christina came along in season 10, and that level of winner will never be reached unless she decides to leave Gordon Ramsay and Hell's Kitchen decides to take her place as her right-hand person. But what about the show itself? Oh my god, it had everything. The first boot was a kitchen ejection. And that person probably Louis had probably the worst starting dish ever, which was this biscuits and gravy glop. Look, he says he's a diner chef, but I've seen biscuits and gravy at diners, and they look a lot better than the slop he served. And not even the free coffee that he said that he would give to them with this would help. Unless that coffee was Irish. It had the alcohol, and it was done right. Other than that, no chance. As for the rest of the season, got the return of Robert. He had to leave season 5 due to a heart condition. Came back in season 6. Wasn't as good as he was in season 5. Struggled a bit, still had health issues. He got booted for the right reason, though, with the Raw Rabbit, which is just unforgivable, especially from a chef of his caliber and somebody who Gordon had said who's been in a Hell's Kitchen the most times of any chef up to that point, and I'm pretty sure of all time up until the All Star seasons came back, and then they just blew his record out of the water. And just overall, all of these great moments, and I can't think of another season that topped season 6 of Hell's Kitchen. It's probably one of the top 5 seasons of reality television of all time. You had Ramsay at his best. You had probably the best all around cast. And there was no artificial drama that permeated after season 7. Like, it was almost as perfect of a reality show season as you can get. So, season 6 Hell's Kitchen aired July of 2009 up to October of 2009. Meets the criteria. Big thumbs up. Now we talk about the blandest, and sadly, this is the only, for the game show fans out there, this is the only game show that we're going to be talking about on this video. And there was one other game show from the 4 that I talked about that were syndicated. I said Wheel, Jeopardy, Feud, Millionaire. The 5th one, Trivial Pursuit America Plays. I mean, it had a great idea. Have people from the public submit the Trivial Pursuit style questions, and you'd have the in-studio contestants compete against them. If they got it right, they get the money. However, if they got it wrong, each time the contestants get it wrong, America would win the money. And whoever had the most money at the end wins. So, it's fine, but everything just felt so paint by numbers. The format was slow. I mean, you had to fill your pie, which was 6 questions. And that got stretched over the course of the 20 or so minutes of the first part of the show. Christopher Knight as a host is fine, but he didn't really inspire any confidence or inspire you to keep on watching. He essentially, this was part of his revival after being on, I want to say, The Surreal Life. And it was him and Adriana Curry. They got together, they had their own reality show. Then he got this job. I don't know if those two are still together. They probably broke up. But, yeah. And I know a lot of people, a lot of game show fans submitted questions, and quite a few questions for the show, won quite a bit of money off of this show. So it's not a slight against them, it's just a slight against the show being so dull and boring and only lasted 1 season. And just can't, just with this type of show, you know, you need a little bit of excitement. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, so far the best version of Trivial Pursuit will always be the 1993 version on the Family Channel of Wink Martindale. Nothing even comes close. Sorry, Tony Slattery, even though it's kind of the same format. Whatever. Now to the worst. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking our little genius is going to take this spot. However, that scandal broke in 2010, even though production happened in 2009. So with the scandal break in 2010, we knew nothing about the rigging or anything that was happening on that show. That doesn't count. So we have to figure out what is the worst show of 2009. And something tops rigging a game show. Outright murder is worse than rigging a game show. So that's why the worst show of 2009 is I Love Money. Now, the show is bad enough as its own. What it is essentially is, the challenge on MTV where they would pull all of these all stars from all these reality shows, like I Love Money, like I Love New York, For the Love of Ray J, Rock of Love, Daisy of Love, Megan Wants a Millionaire, stuff like that. That's the competition on this show. And they compete in a bunch of physical and mental challenges. Your stereotypical fare on these type of well, not those type of shows, but any type of competition show whatsoever. Well, yeah, it's pretty bad. Season 2 aired in the early part of 2009. Season 3, which is the main crux of why it's the worst show of 2009, was going to air around September, October of 2009. Probably ended around December or probably in the beginning of 2010. The Ryan Jenkins killing of Jasmine Fior happened. Now, apparently they met somewhere. I don't think it was on Megan, because Ryan Jenkins was part of Megan Wants a Millionaire. And yeah, he decides to murder Jasmine Fior. Now, Jasmine Fior was a model from Santa Cruz, was strangled, stuffed into a suitcase. Gruesome, gruesome stuff. Turns out that her husband at the time was Ryan Jenkins, and he would commit suicide after it was essentially discovered that he did it. Now, why was season 3 shelved permanently? Simple. He won. So there was no way you could edit out or try to work your way around him being on the show. If it was like the first boot, you could work your way around it. Or you could do something along the veins of what... You couldn't do anything around the veins of what happened with Sherry Pie on RuPaul's Drag Race. Where the show was airing, the allegations came out midstream, and you had the live finale where they would perform. And you could just cut Pie there. You couldn't do that with this. So, all of the money sunk in production, the cast, Craig Jackson as host, his salary, all of that time, effort, and money to tape what was a horrible show to begin with, sits on a shelf somewhere in VH1, never to see the day of light again. And the show's not even that good. I mean, the challenge is fine because they don't have because they have people you actually want to see on TV. These people on the Rock of Love, Real Chance of Love, I Love New York, that didn't happen. So yeah, there's not much left to say about this. I Love Money is the worst show of 2009, and I will hear no argument to the contrary. And that was 2009. A few bright spots in a really awful, awful year of game shows that was. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below on what you think is the best, worst, and blandest of 2009. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be like these awesome people scrolling down right here. as they back us on Patreon at patreon.com/gameshowgumbo. Get the weekend videos a day early. Get your name down there. And we thank you so much for doing so. I'm Cindy Saddleman. Take care, everybody. See you next time.